First leg, Simon to throw first. Game on.
I'm Dan Dawson, Paul Nicholson, former Players Champion alongside me. It is the Wizard and ruthless James Richardson.
So what you're trying to get at, Dan, is that this is quite a momentous evening.
83.
It is. And to put it in context, 2 years ago when Mensur Suljovic won his first PDC ranking title
45.
on this stage, we did not know what was to come from Mensur, but he has since become a major champion and one of the best players in world darts.
100.
Winning things can change your life. It can change you as a player.
140.
Now, Richardson this weekend has been rather useful. He took out the favourite this morning, which was Ian White.
60.
I think a lot of people thought that Ian White was going to do the double. He isn't. He was taken out 6-4 by James Richardson, who's been scoring very well.
45.
But you got a really good stat, haven't you, Dan, about the last time that James Richardson beat Simon Whitlock?
Well, the only time he beat Simon Whitlock, in fact.
140.
In their 5 previous meetings, Whitlock has won 4 of them, including at the European Championship last year. And I know that last year you singled out James Richardson as a player to watch on the Euro Tour because he was doing well to qualify for so many of them. Whitlock's not going to take this out.
58.
He leaves 60. Now what a way to start this would be. Another one in there. Not quite.
A
90.
little adjustment. He's left exactly what Simon's got. Little step to the left. Right down the barrel.
20.
Ooh, he hit the dart.
Change your
It was a bit
record,
too much
60.
to the right of the barrel. Can James do the same? But he's got to step to the right. Double 10.
50.
Just on the inside of the wire.
Simon, you record
So a couple of
40.
misses at the start of this match. They know how big an opportunity this is tonight. Can Whitlock peg tops? He can. And that's a phrase, you know, that is massively used in Australia. When I first moved down there, I couldn't believe how many people
140.
referred to hitting doubles as pegging. And it's something that Simon's got out of the habit of actually doing.
Well,
97.
he wasn't missing much against Steve Beaton earlier on this afternoon, as he won 6-3 with an average of more than 102.
83.
Beaton averaged almost 100 himself, 99.9, but the Wizard held him off because he was clinical at the end of legs. James Richardson defied an average of 100 from Ian White to win his game. He wasn't quite as,
100.
what's the word, convincing in his finishing, but he was hitting the doubles. Often he was only getting one dart at it because his setup play was poor, but he was taking them out.
So in golfing terms, he was missing the green, but he was chipping in.
Yeah, that's basically what was happening. But the one time that James Richardson has beaten Simon Whitlock in his career was back in 2011 in a Pro Tour event here in Germany, not here in Riesa, but in Germany. That is the only time he has ever beaten him. And on that day, James Richardson went on to make the final. And it is the only time he has ever been in a PDC ranking final.
100.
Beaten that day by Colin Osborne.
164.
He lost to a wizard.
He did lose to a Wizard, you're right.
Funny how these things work out sometimes, isn't it?
Ooh, that one. Well, that's unfortunate for Whitlock because normally he can group his darts together very, very well. And you could see it just sort of slid and skewed down the barrel.
100.
That'll do. Pressure on the 83 now. I think James wants to get to the oche a little quicker than what Simon is letting him. Double 16. Oh, it was in. It was in. It's not in. He's got a dart left. He only needs one shot. He had 2 in the double. Well, that's a first for me, Dan. I've never seen that before.
Well, by my reckoning, James Richardson is 200% on doubles in that leg. That was
77.
incredible. He didn't have to pick the dart up, but he figuratively had to pick himself up from the canvas there
60.
to fire it in.
Now we know why he was roughing the points up at the start. Now, I don't know exactly where that was in the double 16. We just know it was in there somewhere. But James uses a gold point, which is very smooth.
110. 123.
He obviously knows he's got to put some roughing on them. He's got experience on this stage. You can see there he's got the golden smooth points in.
81.
Yeah, you see a lot of players nowadays have some sort of etching or grip on the actual point. Some of it is about where they hold the dart. You can see the wizard actually has a finger on the point of his dart, a bit like yourself, Paul.
Yeah.
But a lot of
59.
it is about how they grip in the board.
What I'm almost disturbed by is that James has played 3 games on this stage this weekend,
26.
and he chose to rough his points up just before the start of the match on the stage. He had how many hours today to get his darts right? The only thing I can think of is that maybe he had some sort of
100.
imperfection come up in the practice darts. He might have hit a wire or something and created a little spike on the end. Because sometimes if you hit the
38.
wire, the
So
end
you
of the point can
require
turn.
142.
And you've got to nail that down, otherwise it'll ruin a dart. But 142 for Whitlock, 2 treble 17s will be the way to go.
75 left? is it?
5?
Yeah, should be back at the treble 17, I would have thought.
84.
That'll do. He's doing it again, James Richardson. He's just roughing those points up, just in case something happens like what happened at the end of the last leg. He knows how big this match is, so he doesn't want to leave anything to chance.
Well, I've seen Whitlock before, literally, when he hasn't had a bit of kit, and he usually has some sort of kit,
100.
Whitlock, for his
So you
darts.
require 58.
At Ali Pali, I've seen him walk up to the walls, the exposed brickwork, and rub his darts up against that to get some grip on them.
That leads me to a very good
48.
story. Played at the Championship League of Darts with Simon a few years ago. I said I needed to rough my points up a bit. I asked him if he had a stone.
60.
He said no.
So
Go
you
outside and
require
use a
10.
brick.
Yeah, well, it'll work. He's a former builder.
Each on the third leg, Simon Whitlock.
Bricks seem to be the way to go. This is bricklayer versus bricklayer.
It is, yeah. And it's 2-1 to the bricky. Of course, we've talked a lot about Simon's points over the last 2 or 3 weeks. He's got his own custom-made set that he's knocked up out of Allen keys that he literally bought from Wilco's. And he insists that they stick in the board better than conventional points. He's now got them patented, and they've worked for him here. He's also convinced that his averages have gone up since he started using them. And lo and behold, the first tournament he started using them was the Euro Tour in Copenhagen in Denmark, where he went and made the final, his best run of the year.
Got to say that since he's been using those points, he
100.
has been playing a little bit better.
Yeah, he has.
And he's the kind of player, I mean, he has this guy go around with him called Pazzo. He's former security for the PDC. He looks after Simon from the
93.
driving and traveling and security thing. And we always joke when we're at Pro Tours, because Simon sits on our table. He goes up to a board and he'll take a setup with him with different flights and different stems and different points. And we will joke saying,
140.
how long is it going to be before he comes back to the table and tries something else? But since he's used these points, he hasn't changed once.
100.
He really does believe in
So
them.
you require 81.
And he's got a chance here for the first break of throw. Okay, 20 for tops. Expertly done. And you've seen quite a bit of that from Simon Whitlock this weekend. Some animated celebrations. I think he's up for this.
Fifth leg, Simon.
We've got 8 guys here. 4 of them are in the top 16. Even though this is a tournament where for the very first time in the European Tour in its 6-year history, the top 4 seeds in the tournament went out before the quarterfinals. We do have 4 players in the top 16, all seeded players, against 4 unseeded guys who came through qualifiers. Some of them aren't even in the top 64. So although all the outsiders will think what a huge opportunity this is to win a ranking title, potentially my first in the PDC, the higher ranked players, the likes of Simon Whitlock, Adrian Lewis, these guys, they'll be thinking, I may not have a better chance of going and claiming another PDC title.
Well, he's not getting any younger, and winning a tournament like this can solidify
121.
your seeding for another year, give you lots more opportunities for more titles, and put you in position to play at the top for another couple of years.
And we've seen from Whitlock
94.
that if he starts winning tournaments, he can go on a run. He has 17 17 PDC titles to his name. Pump of the fist from James Richardson. His first 180. And a chance to hit back with a 4-visit leg of his own. Whitlock's last title came back in March 2017.
78.
On the Pro Tour. 60. That was a 5th in 5 months.
Double top.
20.
Well, I don't know how. Don't care how good you are, you can't finish 172. You'd love to hit a 140. It's on. Oh, that's a powerful 140. That's in though. Here's 3-2, and Whitlock will love the fact he's got that little cushion. But James Richardson has eroded it a little bit with a break back.
Well, look, Dave Chisnell averaged almost identical, just short of 93 to James Richardson in his game. Terry Temple actually averaged more than James Richardson in the opening round. Ian White averaged more than him, but he's been able to stick in there, James Richardson, and find just a great little burst, a great leg, or a couple of good visits back-to-back that have just turned legs and matches in his favour, even though it's felt like he's been slightly second best a couple of times in games. I was certainly watching Ian White play him earlier on this afternoon. I was watching Chisnell play him yesterday, and I was kind of expecting the higher-ranked player to finish the job, but Richardson did not let them. This weekend, he has taken out a couple of players who have 22 PDC ranking titles between them. If he wins this game, and he's in this game, he'd be in the semi-finals of a Euro Tour for the first time in his career, having taken out 3 players with almost 40 ranking titles between them.
Well, Whitlock's having to rely on that treble 19 a bit at the minute, because his shooting at the 60 has deserted him.
140.
Said the same for James Richardson in a few seconds, but as it stands now, that 140's put him in position to take the leg. And there's another wild one at the 60. Just doing his maths, 30 scored, and he's 191. Can't leave a finish.
119.
This is getting a little bit edgy. And Whitlock said earlier on, didn't he?
79.
The hardest part of Sunday is the break. It's being up, then managing to get yourself back up for this particular time.
140.
He's left himself 34 in a very Whitlock fashion. Will he get a go at it? He will. That is a slip.
Doesn't mind double 17.
He doesn't mind any double, does he? But you do wonder whether it was wise sometimes.
26.
Double 8 was really handy from earlier against Beaton. Came to his rescue. Not this time. Tops for Richardson. And that's right in the corner. That almost hit the post.
Game on.
Well, Simon Whitlock, he won't be told. He has his own ways, and he insists that he knows there's thinking behind it. You cannot accuse. You can accuse Simon Whitlock of many things. You know, whether he goes the right routes for certain things. It's not as if he won't. It's not as if he hasn't thought about it. He will have thought about it over and over and over again. And he would have felt in that situation that it was better to go for the treble 20 to try and give himself 3 darts at a double.
For some reason, Simon Whitlock is speeding up. And I don't say that very often. I think maybe he's been dragged into a speedy game by James Richardson. The only time I've ever seen him speed up, funny enough, was in the European Championship final against Wes Newton. Because he didn't feel comfortable in the middle of the game, and he thought that he just needed to play naturally. Well, maybe he's got that same feeling now.
What he does see, he seemed very fired up all weekend, Simon Whitlock, even prior to some of the big names going out of the tournament. Celebrations have been big. He seems focused. And he's playing well, and that is a trademark Whitlock 180. So close together, those darts.
It's about the size of an ant's footprint, what was left in that 60.
105.
It was 1 puncture mark in total. Double 4. Closer. Closer. In! And a big smile from Captain Whitlock.
James to throw first. $100.
He does have that one Euro Tour title to his name, Simon Whitlock. And there you see the averages, very little between them. It's been like this all weekend for James Richardson. He's happy if he's in a battle because he knows he can come through it. But Whitlock won the Dutch Darts Masters back in 2012, beat some bloke in the final, I forget who it was. But he has made 3 other finals on the Euro Tour, the most recent one being Copenhagen. It's not as if he hasn't been close to adding more Euro Tour titles, and so many quarterfinals and semi-finals over the years. The European stages he absolutely adores.
That Dutch Darts Masters was a massive event. I remember lots of things that happened that week that we still talk about. It was Max Hopp's first European Tour event. Remember Wayne Jones taking out Phil Taylor in the quarterfinals. Brilliant performance. One of my best showings in a European Tour event.
Oh, yeah, it was you in the final.
Yeah. Simon Whitlock in that tournament was so much better than everybody else. So much better. And his game with Per Larsen earlier in the tournament was the game of the tournament. It was never seen online, and it will never be seen. I don't think anybody's got any footage of it. But it was monumentally good.
100.
Be good to get Simon's views about it, maybe. I'm sure he remembers it. But 20 in tops for a level game once more. Doesn't want to give Whitlock a shot. Doesn't. That's a really, really good finish from James Richardson.
Game on.
Well, if James Richardson might have looked a little bit edgy on the walk-on in only his second Euro Tour quarter-final, he's just in the game now. That's all he's thinking about. You can see him, he's fired up. Like a little angry Tim Spall trundling around on the stage, barking, shaking his fist.
Yeah, he's like a batsman at the crease who's seen a few stinging deliveries, and now he's got the pace of the pitch. He knows what to do.
Oh, now go on, he says. Here we go.
Like a very aggressive dad, isn't he?
Well, he did this to Ian White, where he's clinging on and clinging on and clinging on in the game. And then the 9th leg, it was a crucial one. He won that one 6-4 this afternoon.
47.
James Richardson, if he were to go on and win this title, well, it would do all kinds of things for him. He'd only won £9,000 on the tour this year, leading up to this weekend. He's got $4 grand in his pocket already. Win this, it'll be 6 grand. Make the final, it's 10 grand. Win it, it's 25 grand, and a place at the World Grand Prix, a place at the Grand Slam of darts.
Would it make him the top-ranked player in Northamptonshire?
Well, would certainly better Ricky Evans' efforts. The man from Kettering who made the final last week.
Days like today are full of game-changing shots. This would be a game-changing shot. It's not going to happen. But he is going to leave tops.
You require 20.
And in a flash, he's at the Yockey for double 10, and that is right in the middle.
James Richardson, 3-1 down to a former European champion, to the world number 7, to the number 6 seed here in Riesa this weekend. And he has turned this game on its head, like he did against Ian White, like he did against Dave Chisnell.
Well, he's still making Ron Meulenkamp sweat, because if James Richardson wins the tournament, he will knock Ron Meulenkamp out of the Grand Prix. And Ron is backstage. He's with us, helping us with the scores. Stuck around with Jimi Hendrix.
34.
He has that same predicament with Ryan Searle. If one of those guys wins the tournament, Ron is not staying in Dublin.
If one of those guys wins the tournament, beating the other in the final, not only will Ron be knocked out, but Jeffrey de Zwaan will be knocked out as well, incredibly.
And Mickey Mansell will be knocked out of the Grand Slam.
Yes, well, Ricky Mansell will be going out of the Grand Slam because somebody is going to win this and get a spot at the Grand Slam as things stand. But Whitlock has left himself 130. Richardson has left 41. What a shot this would be. Oh, both above the wire, and Richardson gets match darts. We've seen 3 games today where players have missed match darts and gone out of the tournament.
31.
And 2 have been missed.
Simon,
It wasn't the same rhythm, was it?
65.
It was a bit more deliberate. He thought about it for the extra few milliseconds. Is Whitlock going to punish? He gets a 4. It's only 11 bull. It's bull. It's in! Oh, drama in the first quarter! Wow, the fans can't believe it! He did it the very, very, very hard way. And I think we know who the fans want to win. What a thing to see!
A nod of the head from James Richardson. He appreciates that last dart was stupendous. He did the same thing 3 times to Ian White this afternoon, where he had a finish, a 2-darter, missed a big number and made it incredibly hard for himself, but got the job done. And it's been thrown right back at him in the most savage circumstances.
What's he got in the tank? Looks like plenty.
97.
Now, maybe a broken record, but when the game is this tense, you're thankful for tons. Whitlock needs trebles. He has got the throw, but he's got to keep the advantage
96.
somehow. Great order again from this Riesa crowd.
Every single session at this
58.
tournament, it seems we've started with an absolute banger of a game. We had it with Ian White, James Richardson this afternoon. We had it with Martin Schindler and Kim Hybrex yesterday afternoon. Ian White and Klassen was a belt, 108 average from Ian White last night.
No treble
59.
from Whitlock. He's only a dart ahead. Still got the advantage
43.
somehow, Whitlock.
Well, you can hear the groans around the crowd as soon as every dart misses a target. It's just, they are absorbed in this Riesa crowd. 2,500 fans here at the Saxon Arena. They will see the first man through to the semis. And I've no
58.
idea who it's going to be right now.
2 treble 19s to leave a finish. He'd take 1, gets 1.
95.
Good visit. But still, Whitlock has the opportunity. Needs to find a treble. Needs to stay there. Leaves 170.
Surely.
Richardson now has surely got the advantage.
Has he? Oh my, not the time for that to happen.
Oh no.
Oh no!
Nine.
James Richardson!
Simon, you require 170.
Of all the times for that to happen, in a last leg decider, looking to make your first ever Euro Tour semi-final.
This is a battle of wills. The form's out the window. It's about who
40.
is going to get across the line. He hit 9 in the last visit, but he's got more now. Surely downstairs. Stayed with it. He's left 99, which only guarantees 1 dart at a double if he comes back. Now, Whitlock's hit nothing in this leg. It would be typical of him to take this out. He's got a 60. He's got another bullseye. And it's just over the top. He's had a match start, Whitlock. Now James Richardson can only have 1.
He is going to get 1. It's tops. He had to check.
79.
Oh my, James Richardson.
Simon, you require 25.
There was not the clarity of thought there. You saw him adjust. You saw him lose his momentum. You saw him lose the rhythm. And he might have just lost the game. Because the Wizard has booked his place in the semi-finals in the most tense and ridiculous last leg decider. James Richardson's dream run in Riesa is brought to an end by the former European champion.